Now I want to make 100K this quarter. Now I want to make 100K this month. I mean, all those are attainable goals, but each one requires you to be a different person each time.
This is the Leo Climaco Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Leo Climaco Podcast. I'm your host, Leo. Today, we have a very special guest for you. He is the owner and founder of CJ University. He helps entrepreneurs succeed by getting access to capital and investing into system softwares and automation. Chris Joseph.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. That's a smooth intro, man. I like that. I like that, man. Thank you, man.
You know, hey, it's what you build. It's what you created, you know? I'm just letting the people know.
There we go, man. I'm ready to talk about it.
Let's get it, bro. Before we delve in to your success, tell me a little bit about your past, your upbringing, and what made you you.
Man, that's a great question off top. So, again, I'm Chris Joseph. I'm born in Houston, Texas, you know what I'm saying, north side to be exact, you know, and so if we just going back, man, I grew up to where, you know, financial literacy just wasn't there in my community, single parent household, father, I never met my father, never had a relationship with my father, and that was just a big thing in the community, like, knowing your father was like almost a joke, so it was normal to just have a single parent household, man, so I just never had that father figure in place. So again, I was just raised by my older brother and I got an older sister. And, you know, we were just big in my community on sports, you know what I'm saying, sports and girls. That was pretty much it. That was as high as you can go. And then again, being from Houston, you know, music was a big thing, you know, so whether it was sports, girls, or music, that was pretty much the ceiling, you know. So, man, I just went through my high school and went to college just like roaming through, just not no real direction, not no real path of where I want to go, man. And when I left college, you know, I dropped out because I couldn't make no money. I had the grades, everything was good, but I was just struggling financially. I said, this ain't for me. I got to figure something out. So, man, I was working at UPS, unloading trucks,
Brown do
man.
for you?
Oh my God. I said, okay, it's too hot in this warehouse. I'm done with this. I need a job with an AC. So I started working at a shoe store. Man, the last job I had was Finish Line, making $8 an hour.
Wow.
And I jumped right into segueing into how I got to it.
How long ago was that?
The last job I had was 2016.
Okay.
It was, I quit in 2017 and started my entrepreneurship journey.
Got it.
Right? So how it started was this. So I remember leaving work one day. It was Finish Line. I had my shirt over my shoulder, just tired, bro. I was depressed. Just fed up with my life. Just wasn't happy where it was going. I was getting paid $8 an hour, trying to hustle some stuff on the side.
Probably working 35, 40 hours a week.
Oh my God, man. And they tried to hit me to become a manager. So I went from
More responsibility.
$8 to $12.
Oh, great. Thank you.
And then the store they moved me to was further than the one I was working at. So the gas and the tolls ate up the little $4. So I was like, this is just terrible, man. And I remember I went home now. In my apartment complex, my neighbors, I had some neighbors that stayed there. There was two ladies from Ethiopia, right? And one of the ladies, her boyfriend was from Kenya. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So they really taught me a lot of information about Africa and back home and mindset stuff that was really big.
That's awesome.
I wasn't reading books or nothing like that. So me and one of the friends, we were sitting just like this, and I'm just frustrated sitting there, man. And we were smoking hookah at the time, and then he just got excited. He said, wow, I just made 60 grand. And I was like, yeah, I look like that. I said, you made 60 grand?
To what?
And so what he did was he had leveraged his credit and purchased a real estate property. This was back in 2016, so things were a lot more cheaper, affordable, and it was a low income area in Houston. So I think they bought the house for like 40 and they put like 60 grand into it. They was all in for 100, a little small deal.
Right.
And then they just put it on the market. Somebody bought it for 160. So they took the 160, paid off their credit and pocketed the 60.
Wow.
And so when he explained that to me, I was like, can you teach me?
Right.
Like how the hell did, because at first I thought he had 100K cash. But then he explained to me he leveraged 0% interest, business credit.
Got it.
So I was like,
was that SBA or no?
No, that was just him having good, excellent personal
and going
credit.
to the bank and getting.
And then him and his partner just got the funding.
Got it.
You know, and again, this was 2016 before like now it is on YouTube and Instagram and widely known.
Yep.
So this was like groundbreaking to me. So I said, can you help me? He said, yeah, I can help you, bro. He said, what's your credit score? I'm 26 years old, never looked at a credit a day in my life. So I go home, I make a little credit karma. I look in there and I seen my credit score was 473. And I was like, I didn't know so much about credit. I was like, is this bad or is it good? I didn't even know anything. So I go back to him and I say, hey, so my credit score 473. Can we get started? He was like, bro, no, we got to
do a few things first.
You got to do a few things first, man. So he didn't know how to repair it because when he came to this country, he read a book that just taught him and he just built it. So then I had to go on this journey to clean it up. I didn't have really, the score was low, but I didn't really owe nobody money, nothing crazy because I didn't have credit.
Right.
I just had like
probably why it was low, because you had no history.
Correct. So I just had like a little phone bill on there, a little cable bill from college I didn't pay, a few $100.
Right.
Took care of that. Got me access to credit. Got my score to 700. Got myself access to 100K in business credit. And then it was on from there.
That's crazy. I could imagine your face and your reaction sitting there, listening to him saying, I just made 60 grand by doing a flip. Similar thing happened to me. Before I began my entrepreneur journey, I met someone who was basically building websites. He had a website that helped you edit, basically, right? He helped you make some crazy videos. And he sold it for 300 grand.
Damn.
He built it up for a year and sold it and was telling me the story. I had the exact same reaction that you did. Can you please fucking teach me how the hell you did that? Because I want to know, what is the secret? Like, how do you become financially wealthy? How do you break away from this rat race of 9 to 5 of being stuck in the system? You know?
100%. That's exactly.
And it's crazy how like having good credit, getting money will free you.
It was game changing for me. It was everything because I couldn't go to my parents and ask for any money. I couldn't borrow anything from friends, especially 50 grand, 100 grand. Of course not. You know, so when I found out that we can do this as Americans, you got a Social Security, like you just do what they tell you to do, and they're gonna legally hand this money over to you.
Yeah.
You know, so it was game changing information for me, man. And so when I got my credit over the 700s and I got access to the capital, I instantly started helping my close friends. And I started getting them results. And I was
Good for you.
Oh shit, this is really. Now again, this was 2016 when I was getting mine right. So around 2017, I went ahead and threw in the towel at the job. I said, I'm out. I quit. I got something here, but I didn't have much money, bro. I only had $1,000 cash saved to my name. But I had the credit from that one conversation. And that's what I teach my community now. Like, when you hear it, go. Like, he didn't have to tell me multiple times.
Yep.
I heard what happened. Now, he couldn't tell me some stuff because he didn't know how to repair. I went on a search. And again, this was 2016, 2017. So YouTube, you know, back then they were just doing a vlog. And it wasn't just a lot of education. So it was really hard for me back then because the content creation wasn't there like it is now. But it led me into reading books. I was forced to read.
Nice.
So,
books open up a whole new world.
Yeah, because a lot of times people get caught up in getting game only from video content and they forget about books.
Right.
So I was forced to have to read, which helped me where I got today. And so basically, man, I got some access to some credit and I started traveling, enjoying myself, upgrading my clothes, upgrading my situation, and said, hey, I can make a business out of this.
Yeah. Right.
Because so many people are interested in it. And so I just charged $500 to start.
Wow.
And I gave myself a goal. I said, man, okay, $500. I help 200 people. I make my first 100 grand. And man, when I made my first 100 grand doing it, so I quit in 2017. I made my first 6-figure year 2018.
That's amazing.
Because I was early. Yeah. So I was super early, and I was still connected with a lot of high school and college friends. And again, if you do right by people and you get them the results, the word of mouth referrals went crazy. And so
blows up.
Yeah, man, I was able to make that first 100K. And once I did that, from making $8 an hour, I just all in entrepreneurship. I knew it was possible. I just needed to just jump out there, get the information, and most importantly, take action.
Have you heard that luck is being ready when opportunity knocks?
I agree with that.
Heard that.
I agree with that.
And it sounds like the opportunity came to your door. You opened that door and you said, "Let's go." Right? Like, you heard the voice of God, you heard him telling you it's now, and you took action.
100%, man. And I'm glad you brought in God because, man, I would say, like, if you wanna test God, become an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Like if you want to try it out, if you want to really, if this God stuff work, it's faith, become an entrepreneur. You're gonna find out real quick. You're gonna need him.
Yes.
It's not an option.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying? It's not an option. So, the entrepreneurship journey, like as it started to happen, man, I began to pray a lot more because I got into personal development. The first book I ever read was 50 and Law.
That's a
by
great
Robert
book.
Greene and 50 Cent.
50 Cent. I love that one.
That was the first book I
think it's
read.
better than the original version, personally.
Yeah, man, I love that
50
book.
gave a certain spice to it,
Exactly, man. I listened to the audio, man, and it was and the book was really about fearlessness.
Yes.
Because as I'm going from an employee to being my own boss as an entrepreneur, is what I teach now is that, like, that's a mindset thing. Going from an employee to being your own boss.
It's an entire shift. It's an entire complete shift.
Entire shift.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to be successful entrepreneurs and make a shit ton of money, but the money is a byproduct about who you become. You got to become this new person first.
That's right.
Before, that money you looking for come. Because
Correct.
the 100K, 200K, $500,000, that comes from value.
100%.
You can't give value if you haven't become a valuable person.
If you're low vibrational, if you're in a low frequency, that money will not come to you. You got to raise your vibration 100%.
So 50 at Law, and then I went over to Think and Go Rich, and it was on. Once I read Think and Go Rich, yeah, man, of course, the classic Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the foundational entrepreneurship books, Think and Go Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then it just opened me up to like, man, this is possible. Like this entrepreneurship or making $100K or $1 million, this isn't just for some fortunate people. This is for like everyday people who choose to do it.
Yeah.
So personal development was huge as I was going through the credit journey as well.
I think what you just said is key. You have to choose to do it, right? Because if you don't make that choice, you won't be able to handle the journey.
100%.
A lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, but they just want the money. They want the clout, right? They want the end result, not understanding that to be an entrepreneur is to enjoy that journey, right? You enjoy that road trip. Forget where you're going. The road trip is the fun part.
Yeah.
You're in the car, driving, eating chips, going different stops. Like, that's the journey. That's the lesson that you learn to become who you have to be in order to go get that money.
100%, man. And you just stretching yourself.
Yes.
Like the money, okay, I want to make 100K this year. Now I want to make 100K this quarter. Now I want to make 100K this month. I mean, all those are attainable goals, but each one requires you to be a different person each time.
100%.
And a lot of people think it's just a course or just think it's a mentorship. No, it's you, like who you becoming, like you say, like it's making that decision. And I teach this all the time in my community. It's like your life is going to change the day you make the decision. And I think a lot of people haven't made that choice yet. 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
Man, entrepreneurship, I don't mind people having a job and do a side business on the side.
For sure. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's 100% possible. But it's like, once you get in that realm of, I'm not just like what you said, I'm not just here to make money. I think the entrepreneurship journey is really about how much impact you're going to make too. One, the person you're going to become, but once you become that person, now you got the formula to help transform other people. And again, the money is just going to be a byproduct of all the value and impact and transformations you do to other people.
Right.
How
well you network.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back. You got your 700 credit score. You got your 100 grand. What's the first thing you did?
Man, the very first thing I did, because I was still doing credit repair at that time, I was just trying to get better at that. So I was invested in like better computers, better printer. I was going to the post office so much, man, they gave me the little stamp thing to use and stuff like that. But besides just helping my little credit repair business, man, I was just traveling. That was the first thing I did, was like get out of my environment. That was just money well spent for me, because I was like, wow, there's other stuff out here than where I grew up from. So just traveling around the world, man, I was using my business credit, but I was also had travel points, and I was teaching people how they could travel like this. And then I got into this realm of, when I would travel to see different things, I would be posting. And this was, Instagram was more organic back then too. So everybody seen my posts. And so people was like, wow, look at Chris being able to show. I wasn't just showing credit and just showing making money. I was just showing like dude, I'm
lifestyle.
free.
Yes.
Like I have freedom. Like I can go travel somewhere and then I can still run my business while I'm traveling. So traveling was like the first thing I invested in, was moving around, traveling, and then just upgrading my image. I just felt like I got to a point to where like I want to help people, but I want to show people how I was changing and transforming.
Right.
But going back, I wish I made some better investments once I got the money. What I teach now is get you a coach, mentor, and get you some back-end systems and automations. But back then, man, I was just like so happy I wasn't broke no more. So I wanted to go see different things in the world, and that opened me up to like, wow, if I continue to do what I'm doing, these type of things are like attainable.
Right.
So the very first thing I invested in was just moving around, traveling different places. And I will also say this, going to networking events. It was the first time in my life that I would go to a conference, go to a networking event.
Putting yourself out there.
Yeah, watching people talk on stage and just shaking hands with different people all over the country. So I spent a good amount of money traveling the country, going to networking events, for sure, awesome. Conferences, yeah.
Don't feel too bad about traveling and spending money or not investing the way you think that you should have. It's part of the journey. Right. My mentor always tells me that like people like you and me who grew up with no money, when we come into money, we got to splurge. You got to get that out of your system.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. You have to do it and then move on from it, right?
Right.
Learn from it, have fun, go splurge, but then move on from it. You can't stay stuck there. Right. That's the issue.
Right. That's the one right there.
Yes.
Don't stay stuck there. Yep.
100%. How do you deal with the ups and downs and the roller coaster ride of being an entrepreneur?
Man, great question. Leaning on God. Because I grew up in a church. My mom would take us to church, but it was more of listening to the pastor, going for church on Sunday, and we forget about God throughout the week until we just go back to church again. So I was just like, I hear about God, I know about God from church, but I don't have a relationship with God. So when I got into personal development, that led me to learning more about spirituality, man, I would study some really good guys like Neville Goddard, even some neuroscientists like Joe Dispenza.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I would just tap into this realm of like Bruce Lipton is another guy I would listen to, and I would just tap into this realm of like understanding that there is a consciousness outside of the physical.
Yep.
So once I started getting into that, I was starting to notice that the spiritual teachers, even when they mention words like infinite intelligence or universe, we're still talking about God. Right. So that helped me understand that. And then once I got into meditation, I was like, okay, this is like prayer. Right. So as I was going through that journey and just getting a better relationship with God, when I would deal with those ups and downs, especially the downs, I would just be like, man, if I do what this book says and cast my burden all on Jesus, all on God, and just allow them to handle it, what if that really works? Because, it's easy to praise God when everything's working out.
Yes.
So, of course, I was, thank you, God, thank you, God. When things wasn't working out, I would really test my faith, because I'm big into stretching myself.
Okay.
Like pushing the boundaries. Because once I made the first $100K from $8 an hour, I thought anything was possible already.
That's what makes you an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I hope you know that.
What's that?
Testing the boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
That's really what an entrepreneur is, right? Taking risks and trying things out.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge risk taker, man, because I feel like I came from nothing. So once I already got that going, when I moved from Houston, man, I got a house out in La Jolla, California. I thought,
nice.
Once you make some money, you go out to California.
Let's go to Cali.
And just to go back, though, it's because of my YouTube. Just to go back to the story, so when I was helping so many people in Houston and friends and stuff like that, I kept having to tell them the same stuff. So I ended up making YouTube videos, not to be a YouTuber or an influencer, just so I could have a link to send people so I didn't have to answer the same questions.
Got you.
So I ended up making these videos in 2018, 2019. Then the pandemic comes in 2020 and they go viral. Man, 2 years later.
Perfect timing.
Right? So I got a video just 200,000 views, 500,000 views, and that began to change everything in my life. So
man,
I really I couldn't talk to nobody around me because they never went through what I was going through.
Right.
And I didn't have a father, like I told you before. So I said, well, I don't have a father to call for some help. I got to go to the Father. I have no choice. So, you know, the down times I was dealing with, I just began to double down on God and just be like, man, look, so I didn't do this. There's no way I could have done this. This has to be, you know what I'm saying, the purpose and plans you have set for me.
That's awesome.
So if I'm going through some down times in entrepreneurship, I'm just going to lean on you more and just know that you going to help me solve this problem. And as I'm now like going to my 8th year in entrepreneurship, I know that for a fact. I didn't know that early.
Right.
But that's the whole part of faith. Like, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Because we know as entrepreneurs, it's not over until you quit. No matter how messed up it is, no matter how bad the situation is, if it's the worst of the worst, you can only go up. You know?
That's right.
So that's, man, I'm telling you, when I go through the tough times of entrepreneurship, I slow things down. Am I still alive? You're still alive, right? Read, meditate, pray more, get back centered, right? Just because when things is going wrong in entrepreneurship, it's usually because, you know, lack of sales.
For sure.
You owe bills. You can't pay for things. Usually, I mean, entrepreneurship, usually some financial stuff.
Right.
The flip side is maybe getting screwed over by a business partner, stuff like that, or like close friends changing on you, family changing on you. So those are some like personal mental things. But as far as entrepreneurship, it's usually coming from some financial situations. But it's usually like whenever those events, another guy I studied spiritually, Michael Singer. I don't know if you heard of him. He got a great book called Untethered Soul. So he has a real good chapter in there, man, that really changed a lot for me. When he would just say, like, whenever something bad has happened to you, like in the past or something like that, and you still allowing it to bother you today, well, you're no longer dealing with the event. You're just dealing with the thought in your mind, right? Or if you're thinking about future bills that's heading your way that you don't have the money to pay.
Right.
Well, those are future, they're not here yet.
And you just keep recreating it over and over in your head.
Yeah. So the downtimes I feel like we have as entrepreneurship is that downtime that you have to center yourself and be like, all right, look, that happened. It's the past. I can't do nothing about it. Somebody screwed me over. I can't do nothing about that, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You could learn from it, something you could do.
Yeah.
Right? Make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. And if there's some other things you need to do to sort that out, that's fine. But like mentally, just do what you got to do to get past that situation. If there's something in the future that's bothering you or something like that, well, it's not here yet. The only thing we actually have is the present. The only thing we actually have is now. So if we just focus all our energy as an entrepreneur solving the now, it'll get us past whatever we was dealing with, and then it'll help us solve the problem in the future. So, you know, my ups in entrepreneurship, I'm gonna go have some fun in Brickell. I'm gonna go down to Sexy Fish or something, or Marriott or something, have a good time. So that's what I'm doing with my ups. And the downs, man, I'm gonna just like reevaluate the situation. Why am I here? Why did this happen? Don't let the thought run off crazy. Just evaluate the situation. And if it's getting out of control again, just read, you know what I'm saying, meditate and pray, and just know that it's gonna work out. Not hope and wish, but actually know it's gonna work out.
I love that, man. Why do you think you have this discipline, this awareness, right, to go to God when in trouble? Because most people just play victim, right? They're not able to go in and try to see first, okay, am I the issue? Like you said, you slow down, I'm still alive, I still got this, I still got that, right? People can't do that. What do you think gives you that ability to be able to reflect on what's going on in your life and allow yourself to just fall back and let God catch you?
Yeah, it's good, man. Well, I just from my situation, I feel like my back was already against the wall. Like I felt like I was already at a place, man. I was really just sad and depressed, man. When I was working at Finish Line selling shoes, it was actually worse than that. I had warrants, like not because I was doing something illegal, but I couldn't pay my traffic tickets. I didn't have enough money to pay my traffic tickets.
That's the worst way to have a warrant.
So I had, bro, it was bad. I was driving a 1996 Dodge Intrepid.
Wow.
I had warrants.
Long body.
Yes, I had warrants, bro. I couldn't pay my tickets, my surcharges. So I said, well, if they pull me over, I'm going to jail. So I didn't have no insurance. So I said, why would I pay insurance? My insurance out. So I couldn't register the car to get my tags. Man. So I got warrants, no insurance, tags out, right? Like, so I'm not knowing every single day am I gonna go to jail.
That's
so
crazy.
I dealt with nights like trying to fight through this entrepreneurship journey. Like, I don't know. And every day that I move around that I'm gonna go to jail. So I had very tough, sleepless nights, bro, and just really was sad and depressed about my situation. You know, just hiding and ducking all the time. So it's like, I felt like my back was so against the wall that it's like, when things start going as far as entrepreneurship and the good things start to happen, harvest the good. Because it's so easy to focus on the bad. So to go back to your question, why did I feel like I can get centered and go to God and make it happen? It's because I look at all the things I've already overcome. Right? I'm grateful for what I've already overcome. And I think like what you say, why people can't do that? Most people don't show any gratitude to how far they is now. They just always zero in on the worst. So
true.
We know what we focus on is what gets amplified.
Right.
So an entrepreneur can have so many smaller successes and a couple wins here and there, and then when one bad thing happens, it just crushes their mind. They get sad. They get worried and doubt. They get anxiety. They get depressed.
And they go down the spiral.
And they go down that spiral.
Yep.
So what helps me is we do something what Bob Proctor teaches us: harvest the good. So I just go back and focus on. Well, I remember when I got past that situation. I remember when I got past that situation. I remember when I got past that situation. So why I can't get past this one? So I think that's my thing, you know what I'm saying? And now, you know, as you know, when you've been an entrepreneur like myself going on almost 10 years, now you almost expect some bullshit to happen and be ready to handle it.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I'm just ready to fire off.
You understand that it goes up, it goes down. It goes up, it goes down.
So if we at that down, I'm about to handle this very quickly because I know it's an up on the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To me, I see the down as like, all right, time to rebuild myself.
Right.
Right? I've capped out at this stage, at this level. So now it's time to recreate myself to go to the next level. Right? The next, I call it the pit to peak.
There
Right?
we go.
I'm in my pit. Now I got to go into my peak.
There we go.
You know?
And one more thing I want to add to that too, like what we both said, how we handle it. Taking self-responsibility, you know, self-accountability.
Yes.
Like if we get out of the blame game.
Point the finger this way,
Yeah.
not that way.
So even though sometimes most of the shit don't be my fault, I still take self-accountability, self-responsibility for the situation because I'd be like, well, why are you still in the situation?
Right.
Why was you even next to that person? Why was you even in that environment? Why was you connected to that person? I'll still put the blame and the responsibility on me because that's the fastest way I know I'm going to accept it. Once I accept it, then I know I can handle it.
And that is why you are successful.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we get in that blame game and fuck blaming, man. It happened to you.
Right.
So you need to go ahead and solve it. So that's what
it.
I do too. Anytime something go wrong, I reevaluate how I could have done better.
Growing up, who would you say were your mentors that you looked up to?
Man, so it was my older brothers. They were just really good athletes. They was really good athletes, and they was my role models.
What's the age gap?
3 years.
Okay.
3 years. 3 years older than me, and just watching the success they had because they were super popular in Houston.
What sport?
Football and basketball. They were really good, but mainly football. A lot of them went out to Division I college. So just watching them. Really good be athletes and really be good with people,
right?
And handling like popularity.
Yeah.
And I was able to watch them as a kid. Like
That's a great role model.
Yeah. So I went to school on the north side of Houston. I grew up on the north side of Houston, but I went to school way on the other side of town just from an athletics transfer. But I was able to get carried because my big brothers were so good. So I was able to go to a really good school called Westside High School, which is it was a brand new school, really good school, opposed to going to some, you know, not really good schools in my neighborhood.
Right.
So because they were really good athletes, that really saved my life. Because I don't know where I would be if I'd have went to some of the schools in my neighborhood, because going to that high school kind of opened me up to a lot of good things. So watching them and watching how they handle being popular, I could say that's something that, you know, when my YouTube went viral and I started getting all this national attention or something, that's something I was kind of able to lean back on.
That's awesome.
You know, so they was my mentors from that aspect growing up. And then when I started entrepreneurship, I found me some new ones.
Like who?
First, Bob Proctor.
Bob's
Proctor
great.
was me. When I started my entrepreneurship journey, you know, you always searching when you first start.
Sure.
And I remember the day I had some of my friends over at the crib, two of my homegirls, and they was over there talking. I just overheard them. They was like, yeah, girl, I had watched this movie, The Secret, last night on Netflix, and I feel so good. And yeah, girl, it was about law of attraction and stuff. Like, I'm just listening, like, she was like, I feel so good. I'm like, shit, I'm searching for anything. As soon as they left the house, I turned on Netflix. I said, what the hell they talking about, The Secret? So I put it on, and as I'm watching it, instantly I'm like, oh, this is some hocus pocus bullshit.
Right.
Like, what is this? Affirm what you want, the affirmation, law of attraction. I didn't believe it at first because it sounded too good to be true. But there was the one person on there, Bob Proctor, like just his delivery was very stern and very certain the way he talked.
Connected with you.
Yeah, so I was like, what's up with this old white guy? What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So I go to YouTube, and then I YouTube Bob Proctor, and I was like, oh, snap. So I went down his rabbit hole of content, and I was just listening to him. And Bob Proctor is just like, I would consider that was my first mentor. He really brought me into the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, that type of understanding. And then he would always mention Think and Go Rich. And he would say, man, if you read this book and do exactly as it says, you can have anything you want. So at that time in my life, I said, yeah, if he say read it, I'm going to go read it. Right, so I ordered it on Amazon and read Think and Go Rich, and I moved over to Napoleon Hill, and then to some other guys after that. Bob Proctor was the first one that really changed the game for me.
That's awesome. Your brothers really, really changed your life.
Yeah.
Just because athletes are very disciplined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're very methodical, right? For them to be good in their craft, they have to have a certain routine and do certain things, and they got to eat the right way, and they got to, train the right way. And that's awesome to have that growing up, seeing that, man, those guys are pretty solid.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. From middle school, we went to Clifton Middle School on the north side of Houston, and then West Side High School. The school was only open 4 years before one of my older brothers went, man. He went off to LSU. That's when Nick Saban was there.
That's
D1
awesome.
Right. He was in an All-American game. Like, he was that good. Yeah, R.J. Jackson. He was that good.
That's
he went
amazing.
to LSU. Other bro, Marcus Jackson, he went over to TCU. So I had some really good guys, man, that I used to watch go Division I.
That's cool.
Man. So it's cool.
You must have gone to some cool college football games.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just watch their whole journey through high school and stuff like that. Myself, I got carried a lot by them. I consider myself a good athlete, but not as good as them. I went off to Blinn Junior College when I left high school. I was actually there when Cam Newton was there.
Really?
So yeah, I got to watch his whole journey go from junior college to Auburn to the start in the NFL. So
what did you play?
Cool.
What position?
Receiver and corner.
Very cool.
I was on both sides, man. And I played basketball too. So athlete is like, that was the thing growing up.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool.
It builds character.
Yeah.
It builds character, and I think that team aspect, that camaraderie, it builds a group. It builds a unity. You learn to work with each other, and those are all great skills to be an entrepreneur, to deal with managing your team and your staff and your clients. It builds a good foundation for you.
100%.
That's amazing. Tell me today, what are some of your non-negotiables, as in values, as standards? What are your standards? What's your platform that you bounce off of?
Man, that's a good one. I'll tell you this, bro. That's why I was looking at these books in here, man. I'm really big on reading books. So like a non-negotiable is like people that want to be in my inner circle, want to be close to me. If you're not reading, that's like a none. That's a valuable thing to me, man. I tell everybody, man, if I know that you're not reading, you don't have no books in your crib, there's not a bookshelf nowhere, I'm literally gonna feel some type of way about
For sure.
you. Like if I come in your crib and you got no books nowhere, like that's a big deal to me. I'm just big on that. Another one is even though it happens, this non-negotiable is, I know it's pretty standard, but the negativity. I come from that. I've dealt with that. A lot of people,
It's low vibrational.
And like I say, I'm from the hood on the north side of Houston, Texas. A lot of people know that, and we got rappers and entertainers in our community that show that lifestyle to where we can get money and we can go back and we can do this and do that. I'm not trying to go back. I'm not trying to deal with any of that. So another non-negotiable, again, I know it's just standard, but like negativity, anything that's leading into that route of jealousy, envy, pocket
Hatred.
watching. Yeah, this guy got more money than me. How can I screw him over? How I can take over? Man, that's non-negotiable where we at. And I keep a tight-knit group. What I deal with is my close inner circle,
awesome.
and even in my online community, really, really close. So I would say one, reading the books, man. Stay away from the negativity. And so this is a good question. I haven't really thought about my non-negotiables. I actually need to write them down. How many would you say you need to have? I know it can vary from people.
A few, like 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I think I need to think about 2 of them. Well, now that I'm getting into fitness, I'm about to add that one.
That's a good
like
one,
my
too.
guy Andy Ellis, 6-pack or you fired, right? So I'm getting ready to add that. So as soon as I start getting more ripped, a non-negotiable is you're not working out, you can't hang out with us.
It's the same thing with reading, right? It builds that discipline. Like going to the gym builds that discipline.
Yeah. So I'm glad you put that on my mind, bro. I'm gonna work on 2 more for you, and I'm gonna get back with you.
Please do.
Just right now, man. But seriously, I'm around. I love reading. I think that's you got to put that in, man. You got to be continuously learning, get your game up, and stay away from some negativities. Those 2 is at the top right now. But yeah, I'm gonna add 2 more, man, for you.
I love that.
I like that question for real.
Let's switch gears real quick. I want your opinion and your view of the current state of America and the world. What do you think is going on? Do you think we're heading to a good place? Do you think the future looks bright?
Yeah. Man, it's great. I be considering myself one of those conspiracy theory guys. I had all my conspiracies about COVID. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like the type of person I am. I'm like, oh man, that was done, purposely to reset the world and to push us faster into this digital age.
Yep.
But to answer your question, I'm more optimistic. Like it's heading to a good place, and whether the reset was on purpose or not, whatever it is to push us in this social media age. Obviously, there's some bad cases for social media, but I think it's way more good. Because again, this is how we can connect.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like social media and just us, like, I guess, I don't know what year it happened to where we just stuck on our phones now. I guess after the pandemic, it got more serious, right? For
sure.
But the fact that we're all on our phones.
Every single day.
Even though we try to like stay away from them, but that's usually where you run your business, and the most of your stuff. So the fact that we on our phones, we on Instagram, YouTube, any social media platform, you can get inspired by other people. You can like tap into resources. We can connect. We can build community. So that in itself is why I'm gonna always be like, hey man, the change we can make and the impact we can make through the internet, I think we're in a way better place than we ever was, and specifically for like, low income communities.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like my community, the Black community, and even the Spanish Latino communities. Like when you think about some of our great leaders, and again, like in the Black community, we have the Martin Luther Kings, we have the Malcolm X's, we have these great, figures that we used to look up to, that we still look up to in history. But I'm like, shit, they can gather millions of people, and they didn't have Instagram.
Right.
I get inspired by that back in like
That's a really good point. Yeah.
You know how great of a speaker you got to be, or great of impact and value you got to have to watch these people connect people from all over. They didn't have social media.
Can you imagine Dr. King today?
With a Facebook.
Oh my goodness.
Could you imagine?
No, I can't.
So that's why your question is, how brighter do you think it's going backwards or forward? I'm like, well, if I learn from Dr. King, if I learn from Malcolm X, if I learn from Louis Farrakhan, if I learn from some of our great speakers, and is half as good as them, with a social media platform, how much impact and change can I make? So if I sit around and start making excuses about shit, I'm like, I'll go back to be like, well, shit, Dr. King did it without social media, right? So when we start talking about how bad it is, well, let's talk about how good it is, right? I wouldn't have been able to binge watch Bob Proctor, who changed my life, without YouTube.
Right.
I don't make my first 6 figures, 7 figures until my YouTube goes viral. So I'm like, man, I made those videos 2 years ago. They just so happened to go crazy in the pandemic. I go from locally known to nationally known to where I'm in a position where I can help people all over the country because they was able to use YouTube
amazing, right?
right? And then we add
So
AI in
powerful.
there.
Oh, forget it.
I'm big on AI.
AI is gonna revolutionize everything.
I love it. People scared of it. I'm like, what
no,
you
I
scared
love it
of?
too. Yeah, it's great.
What you scared of?
It's a tool. Learn to use it.
AI is gonna take jobs. AI is gonna create jobs. AI is gonna take jobs away from the people who don't want to adapt.
Exactly.
Right? AI is gonna make a lot of jobs. It's gonna
Those
make
that don't want to read and don't want to learn.
yeah. I mean, you stuck in the past. So people be like, well, nah, this AI stuff getting crazy. Like they finna make robots and they finna do all this and take our jobs. Let me tell you, we go back to history. I'm big in history. So again, because I read a lot, but for people to sit here and say that we headed into a bad place because of AI and because of robots, guys, everything that we deal with, especially here in America, is we always going to be evolving with technology and
Always.
innovation. But that's been going on since the beginning of time.
Oh yeah.
The dudes who was riding horses with the carriages, right? That's how they moved around.
Yep.
And then Henry Ford over here saying, "Yeah, I'm finna make an automobile." You know what I mean? People who's riding horses like that shit's stupid. Who's gonna ride in the car? He's messing stuff up, bro. You either gonna get off that horse in that carriage and get in this car, or somebody you delivering something in that damn horse and carriage with a guy who went over to the new technology who's now in the vehicles for to knock you out of business. Don't get mad at the car. Get mad at that you didn't adapt to the new technology. That's been going on since. Well, if you don't adapt,
time.
you're getting rolled over.
Did you know this, that when Henry Ford first brought out the Model T, they wanted to pass a law that for you to drive an automobile, you must have a mechanic with you at all times in the car.
For real?
They wanted to pass that law so it would help the horse and buggy guys.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Right? So like for you to drive a car, you got to have like an F1 type crew with you in case your car breaks down.
Right.
Thankfully that didn't pass.
Right.
And we got to where we are today. But that's how much they wanted to stop it.
Yeah, man.
Because they didn't want to innovate. They didn't want to have to learn.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. We got stories for that all day, man. People was against electricity when Edison was making.
Yes.
Oh, that's gonna like they were
Burn.
saying it's gonna shock us, it's gonna burn us, it's gonna mess us. Now, what if we stop that innovation of the electricity? It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
You're gonna have to. But you had people using kerosene to make the lamps, right?
Yes.
Rockefeller. That's a big business he was about to lose. But he was able to adjust. All right, I can't use kerosene to make lights, but I can use it to make gasoline. Right? And then he was able to use that to grow on. But either way it go, electricity was going to happen. Either way it goes, social media is going to happen. Either way it go, AI is going to happen. So people who think AI is slowing down or going somewhere, the robots are coming. Get ready to learn how to deal with them. But I think it's going to be great. I think AI is going to and the robots or whatever, I think it's going to be able to stop humans from doing like menial work like laundry, washing dishes, driving.
For sure.
I think that us, especially as serious entrepreneurs, we get a new technology to handle those little tasks we don't want to do no more.
Man.
It's going to make us so more
Could you
efficient.
imagine like a robot VA?
You know what I'm saying? Make us way more efficient.
Way more.
Way more efficient. And then the people that's worried about that's taking their jobs. No, you start a business since you in that industry that trains and builds the robots and you sell them to people. Right? It's just whoever's going to adapt first.
Chris, I really love the way you think. I love how you're able to be so positive and always try to look for the best solution of a situation. I love it. I can see why you're very successful. Now, on that point, talk to me about your coaching program and how that mindset helps you just blow up every single year.
Man, good one. So, like my coaching program, what I have now is an inner circle that I built on my own platform, and it's where I'm coaching coaches on how to make high ticket offers.
Got it.
Right. I think one of the fastest ways to get rich is having a super valuable high ticket offer, and so I coach them how to make high ticket offers by using financing and funding and then software and systems.
Got it.
So how it's blowing up really well right now, we even had to kind of close down the community because we got so much traffic since I launched this offer.
What a good problem to have, huh?
Yeah, man. Daniel Presley, you heard of him? He's a really, really good coach. Daniel Presley wrote a book called Key Personal Influence.
Yes.
And he got another book called Oversubscribe. Right? It's a really good book that helps you create demand, right, with limited supply and creating wait lists and being oversubscribed. So that's where we at right now. We're not looking to just get a lot of people. We're looking to get the right people.
Got it.
Right? And the reason why I say that is because...
Who's your ideal client?
So my ideal client right now is the person that's ready to position themselves for a high ticket offer. Someone that knows that like, hey, I've been in entrepreneurship for a little while and I've had a lower ticket offer and I've been working with lower tier clients and I'm ready to get more value and more skill sets so I can attract higher paying clients.
Got it.
So those are my ideal clients right now, and those are the ones I'm coaching in my community. And we got 69 members so far. I just launched it in March.
Wow.
So right in June, we got 69 members. Thank you, man. The high ticket guys in there. So basically what I'm teaching them is, first of all my mistakes. I think a lot of times when we shoot content, as influencers and coaches, we always talk about, hey, I made 10K this day, or I made 100K, and we always glorify all the good.
Like, nah, bro, I lost 10K today.
Yeah, let me show you how I messed that up, and let me show you how I messed that up. Let me show you how they messed it up. I think if we did a podcast just talking about mistakes, that might be more valuable than anything.
It might be.
You know what I'm saying?
We should do that. It's actually pretty good.
You know, hey, this whole podcast, we're just going to talk about mistakes. You know how much value that is?
Man.
A lot of people scared to talk about those mistakes, so I talk about them all the time, right? Don't make the same mistakes I did. So the main thing I teach is, because I'm big in software systems and automations, because when my YouTube took off, I went from 5,000 to 30,000 subscribers in a month.
Wow.
Right. And it was just...
That's crazy.
It was a crazy run of subscribers, right? And so they were all going to my Instagram because I had my Instagram go across the video. But what I didn't have is a CRM. What I didn't have is an onboarding process.
You didn't have a funnel ready.
What I didn't have is a funnel ready to collect data and to onboard them properly and fulfill them. So I was making a ton of money, but I was missing way more, right? So let's say I made $1 million, but I lost 9.
Wow.
Because I couldn't, help. And so every time I talk podcasts, public speaking, I say the same thing over and over. I know content is important, right? Definitely post content. But I always say this, let's say the best case scenario happens. One of your pieces of content actually goes viral, and 1,000 people, 1,000 reaches out to you today. Do you have the capacity to service and onboard all 1,000 the same day? And I think a lot of people, like every time I say that, everybody be like, no, I actually don't. So I'll be like, posting content is great, but make sure the back end is even greater to handle that. Why do I teach that? Because that's what happened to me, right? It's the pandemic. My videos was already out. Imagine I'm talking about freeze up my Instagram. Man. Frozen. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
That's crazy.
Imagine trying to respond.
That's 25,000 people.
Bro, imagine trying to respond to that. And they responded back with I can't capture no data. They're emailing, like on one of my biggest videos right now on YouTube, I got 3,000 comments on that alone of just like, you changed my life. How can I contact you? What's your number? What's your email?
Wow.
So I was like, damn, man, I made a lot of good money. And what I did was increase my price because I was working with everybody personally.
Right.
But again, if I had a system in place, I could have moved people where they needed to be. And then again, without no system, it's very hard to hire.
Yes.
Because where you don't have no SOPs, no standard operating procedures to put people in place. I had none of that, right? I just so happened to have my videos do well. So what I teach my community now is, one, get access to capital, right? Because as an entrepreneur, when you run out of money, the game is almost over. So you got to make sure you got some capital, but sometimes you might not have the cash. So at least have some good credit to where you go get access to the business funding. So the first thing I do is help them get access to 50 to 100 grand, 0% interest for 12 months. Boom.
That's great.
You got a nice amount of capital cushion on you. Now, what is the first thing you invest in when you get access to that capital? One, you need to have some type of coach or mentor. I mean, doing entrepreneurship blind is just stupid.
I agree.
Right? You need a coach. You need 100%. A mentor.
Someone who's done it before.
Someone who's done it before. Because, again, you get to learn from their mistakes. Right. A coach or mentor is just like having a guide. So if you're not even finna invest into a coach or mentor entrepreneurship, it's gonna be very difficult.
I agree.
Then from there, again, once I get them access to the capital, I hope they choose me to be their coach or mentor, right? And then from there, what we're gonna invest in is our back-end systems and automation. Even before we even get to the content, we're gonna make sure your funnel is set up. We're gonna make sure your custom domain is set up. Your website is set up. We're gonna make sure your onboarding process is set up. We're gonna make sure when somebody clicks your button. When you shoot a video and you do call to action and somebody clicks that button, you have no worry, because when they click that button, it's going to send them somewhere, and that person is going to get an automated text message and an automated email to let them know that they've getting taken care of,
right,
and to ask qualifying questions to send them in your system where they need to go. So therefore, today, we shoot this, 1,000 people want to reach out. If you go to my website, we will be able to handle all 1,000 in the same day. They would all get responded to within a second.
That's amazing.
Right? So again, how are we going to scale if we don't have a system in place to handle that type of traffic? Right? So that's what I teach. It's impossible. Yeah. So one, we get access to the capital. Two, we invest into the back end systems and automations. Then we go shoot the content. That way we know, go ahead, let's run it. Send them through. We got this, right? So again, just drop the gem. The one we use is a lot of people know right now is Go High Level. So Go High Level is
that what you're using?
Man, 100%. I've been down with Go High Level for over 3 years now.
Same, me too.
I went to the conference last year in Dallas. They actually running an ad on our bid, like one of my business partners who here.
Really?
So when we was at the event, they had us talk like, how do we like about it? This is that. And we was like, some of the few black guys in there, you know what I'm saying? So they was like, hey, y'all come over here.
It's great advertising for you.
Oh yeah, they were like, come over here. Like, yeah, basically like, we need some black people to say they were here.
Right.
So my boy gets on there and he's the guy who handles all.
Like, fuck it, bro. Work that to your advantage.
Oh yeah. So yeah, my cousin Will, so he handles all my back end systems, like the automate. He's my integrator.
Got it.
Right. So I'm the visionary. He's the integrator. He has the back end. So he does a video where he's like going off like this. Go High Level is the best. We already making $1 million to Go High Level, whatever. So he does that.
Awesome.
We found out a couple of weeks ago, we had friends send us an ad. They was using us on YouTube.
Really?
Right? Yeah, that's crazy. So that's been helping us a lot, because now when we post in the Go High Level Facebook group, they be like, hey, I know him. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are on school right now. School, the community platform. Yep. But we built ours on
Hermosi's, right? Hermosi's is school, yeah.
But we actually built our platform on Go High Level, not school.
Got
right?
It.
And that's because I think school is cool,
School's
but I think that when people log in there, they can see other people's schools and it's not your own domain.
Right.
So when we built our community on Go High Level, it's our own custom domain, right? So I got a landing page that say joincju.com that talks a little about it. But then my actual inner circle is called cjuinnercircle.com. You don't see school, you don't see nothing. It's just custom domain. And then I can handle the automations from my actual CRM with the community. And so because we one of the first ones to build on Go High Level the community platform, issues that we deal with, like they kind of like on standby to talk to us about it, because there was a couple of things we deal with, and they were like, hey bro, like CJU, y'all one of the first guys who got that much action on, because when we joined Go High Level's community, it was still in beta.
Really?
So we got on it very early. We seen school. We were like, whenever I see a software in beta, I try to jump on as fast as I can.
Why?
Simply because like software companies that are in beta usually like to listen to the users a lot. Right?
Right, because they're beta testing.
They're beta testing. So if you jump in early enough and you're one of the most active ones, you're going to know the problems that the software is having. And then if you email or reach out to the founders, they'll be like, man, thank you.
Right.
Because now we know what to go fix.
Make it
so
better.
we was doing that with Go High Level in the community, certain bugs they didn't have or certain things. And so they would talk back, oh man, we never had that.
What a great way to network.
Yeah. So we talk directly, like some of them guys, like Sean, the head guy. I mean, they all active in the community.
Right.
But when we talk about a specific issue with the community, they reach back to us really fast.
You guys are credible now.
Yeah, because
you guys hold weight.
Yeah, man. So
that's amazing.
But back to your point, that's what I do. Get you access to capital. Once you get access to capital, let's get your back end systems and automations ready to go. And then once we do that, now the coaches, they in different industries. So what I do with my offer is I white label my funding financial company attached to their coaching business.
Oh man.
And so I use Go High Level as a snapshot to just plug it in behind their business.
That's genius.
So for an example, I work out here at Boxer Gym right in Miami, right? So even like trainers there that's trying to get their coaching programs going and stuff like that. And I got another person who commenced in the trucking industry. But like I told my guy in fitness, I'm like, hey man, you might got a high ticket. We can help you make a high ticket like fitness program for like 3 months or so. It come with nutrition plans and stuff like that.
Right.
And you might want to charge a nice amount for that. So what if we attach a finance company, a funding company to your fitness company? So let's say somebody wants to work out with you. They really like you, but can't afford your plan, well, let's go ahead and get them financing. When they get financing, they can fund your fitness program. Same thing what I do in different industries. So I ended up dropping that to Go High Level Group, and that shit went crazy. You know, it's because people didn't think about it. And the scenario I brought up was we finance furniture. We finance appliances, a washing machine, a dishwasher. We finance our bed.
We finance college.
We finance automobiles. Yeah. So what I say is, why can't nobody finance your offer?
Yeah.
If you believe in your offer, if you believe your offer is going to give value, which I know ours is, where they're going to get the return, whether it's a fitness return or a financial return, if you know they're going to get a return off of it, let them finance it, because we don't want to go pay for a car cash all the time. Even if we got the cash, we might just want to make payments.
Might want to just lease
so
it.
Somebody might want your 10K program. It was like, bro, I only got like 22K in cash. I can't afford it.
Right.
But just get me financing for it. Let me make the little $100 minimum payments. Once I join your program, I'm finna get all this knowledge and value and information. I'm gonna go out and make some money and just
pay it back on my
0% interest business credit cards. That's not even showing the utilization of my personal.
That's amazing.
So I get them to access to capital. Then I white label them a funding company. So as they're going out selling their programs and selling all their stuff, they never have to worry about the customer saying I can't afford it, because we'll solve that problem at the beginning. Let me get you access to the money first, and then we drop the offer.
That's amazing.
That way price is never an issue.
Man, you are smart.
I appreciate it.
That is a really smart
It's been in the game
tactic.
a long time, man.
It's phenomenal.
I always appreciate that compliment, man, but I tell my community all the time, man, and like, again, I'm a college dropout, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I don't mean
single
shit.
parent home, but the point I want to get to is I love the word smart, but the better one I like to use is just aware.
Okay.
Just awareness. Because I learned from Bob Proctor that the smartest people ain't the richest.
No.
It's the ones that's most aware.
Yes.
And so what I learned from Tony Robbins is like language patterns. Certain words certain words got certain energy behind it. So it's like, hey, we can all be smart if you got a college degree, if you got 2-parent household, you smart. Who's the most aware? Because I coach a lot of people that got master degrees up the ass that they come to me for advice.
Right.
Are they smarter than me? Am I smarter than me? It's really about who's the most aware. So I'm aware to business credit. I'm aware of the systems. I'm aware of the software. I'm aware of the content creation. And again, that comes back from reading books. The right ones, right? That's going to actually transform
we
myself.
literally went back 360. Love it. Back to the books. Back to the original point.
Yeah.
Go learn and educate yourself.
Books made me more aware.
Yes.
You know, because
opens your mind up to a whole new world.
I might can't afford to go work with some of these Tony Robinsons, $1 million a year or something.
Right.
But I can read his book.
Yes, you can.
I can read. These guys, these successful people have made millions of dollars. They've been successful. I'm reading biography on Steve Jobs right now. I'm reading the Everything Story by Steve Jobs. These are the biggest people make the best companies in the world.
Yes.
They made books about them. So if I just read their books, I become aware to their knowledge. It speeds me up, right? So that's just how I became so good at what I do, plus personal experience.
Right.
I went through a lot of failures, right? And I talk about my failures so much because I make money off the failures now. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm into like a good offer, systems and software, and capital, because I just think about entrepreneurship and business is about sales.
Yes.
Right? If we're not making sales, we're not in business.
No.
But how do we close more sales? You got to have a great offer. So I'm always thinking about how can I make a great offer. I always work my offers back from no.
Reverse engineering it.
Yeah. So like, as I'm making a good offer, I'm always like, well, why would somebody say no? Why would somebody say no to this? Why would somebody say no? So I would work my offer from the back and be like, well, if I get them access to the money first, so we solve that problem. Now I got to just give them the value.
Because that's usually the number one excuse, right? I can't afford it.
Exactly.
You eliminated that real quick.
Because our greatest sales gurus and our sales coaches out here will teach you about how to handle so many objections, right? And price could be a huge objection. Or I got to ask my wife, or this and that. So somebody might do bro, people pitch at me all the time.
I bet.
Especially, I lived in Brickell before I moved to Bayside. I get pitched at all the time, bro, right? And because I'm in system and software, I can always tell if somebody got a system set up the moment they even try to get at me. But what I tell other coaches is, bro, you're going through your whole sales pitch and your whole presentation and all that stuff. You haven't even asked the right questions to know if the person can afford your stuff. And then when you get to the end of your presentation, you're trying to go in for the close, and then you find out they don't have the money, or they do have the money and might not want to pay. How about we solve that at the beginning?
Yes.
Because it does two things. One, it gets you the access to the capital. Because again, if I want to charge you $10K for my offer, well, I'll just get you $50K in capital. So we solved that. Two, I've already given you value before you pay me.
Yes.
I gave you the money and I gave you value.
And it weeds out whoever's too scared.
Exactly. Right. And so I'm qualifying high quality people, right? They got good credit already and got something going on.
Yep.
Right. And then my funnel that I built on Go High Level has all the requirements, data, stuff like that when you fill out the form and stuff. So I'm already qualifying people. And then again, I give them those two things first. I give them the money first, and I give them value first. So now a person like, damn, like I just started working with CJ. He taught me this and he gave me this and he put money in my pocket. Now it's reciprocity. Now it's like, I feel like I owe him.
Yes.
So
And
I don't
also,
hard sell.
What else can he teach me?
Exactly.
What else can I learn from CJ?
Exactly.
You know?
I don't believe in hard sales at all. So, I mean, I studied from the greatest salespeople. I studied from Grant Cardone. I studied from Jordan Belfort, Robin Cialdini, you know, Brian Tracy. I've studied all these guys in great sales. And handling objections is a big part of sales, but
for sure,
I don't deal with objections. I'm 100% from the field. Like, Margaret, what's your closing rate? 100%. Because before
always closing.
Yeah, because people teaching sales and not teaching closing.
Right.
That's two different things.
I agree.
Sales. I don't sell, we close. Because I've already sold you on the content on YouTube. So remember, I got videos from 5 to 6 years old on my YouTube. So
that's gold.
Right. So when people talk about content, what type of content you suppose is valuable content? Well, the content I make is content that gives you the requirements to be able to work with me. So I give all the value away. But the value I'm giving away is, hey, do this with your credit. Hey, do this with that. Hey, do this. So somebody's like, CJ, I've been watching your YouTube for 2 years. I'm ready. Because the free game I gave them, they already tested it. It already worked. So now they're like, hey, I need the rest of the pieces.
They want more.
I'm like, hey, man, what's going on?
Let's do it.
What's your credit? Man, because of your videos, I'm at a 770. I did everything you said. Perfect. Come on in. Let's get you funded. I'm ready to get funded. Boom, we get you funded. Here's the 100K. Man, I got 100K. Yeah, sure. You want to join my coaching program? How much is it? 10K. Send me the invoice.
Here you go. That's great.
Send me the invoice. You know, half the time I can't even get out what comes with it.
Wow.
They have gotten so much value and the money, they're actually ready. So it's not a hard close. It's not a salesy close. It's just value on top of value on top of value to where, again, it comes off as reciprocity to be like, I've gotten so much value. I've got $10,000 worth of game from CJ before I paid him. I owe him this 10K. And then they always think about the good they're going to get. So again, I've been in the credit industry, man, for like going on 8 years now. So I understand it.
Right. Very well, I can see.
And I know how the industry goes.
Yeah.
Like, I get you access to funding. Like, this industry is I get you access to funding, I charge a 10% commission. That's like industry standard, right? Whatever they get you approved for, they charge you 10%. Well, I don't do that. I don't charge you a funding fee. So if I got you 100K, the 10% commission to me would be 10K. And that's what most of the guys in the industry do. I'm going to tell you is, hey, I get you 100K, but you're not going to pay me just for getting you funded. You're going to pay me 10K for me to build out your back-end systems and automations. So most people in the funding industry, they don't understand anything about software to the level I do.
So smart.
So when people come to me, they're like, now, here's the thing. I'm still charging the same 10K the guy is with the commission.
But you're giving a lot more value.
That's the key. That's the key, because when they get these people access to capital and they take their commission, they're like, go figure the rest out. So they're like, well, why wouldn't I go to Chris? He's an industry standard in credit and funding. But then once he gets me funding, he already has the next plan for me, right? He already has the next step. So I already packaged up the next step. Then once they get their back-end systems and automations together, I attach my financing company to them where they just got to put their logo on it, their brand colors on it. That's all they have to do.
That's great.
And we do the fulfillment.
Wow.
So again, if they have like a 2K offer, I can bump it up to a 10K offer. Because now whatever they was about to offer their community and coaches, I'm teaching them go high level. So now their 2K offer can go to a 10K offer because they get to now add go high level in it, and now they get to handle financing to it. So I white label my entire offer and I hand it to you. Boom. boom, boom. And you got 12 months, 0% interest to get the 10K
It's a
back.
no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer, especially if you are somebody that's already got some motion going and it's like,
Right.
okay, cool. So I kind of created that like final step offer, right? And then like from my 10K offer to 25K when they want to do like content creation, we got to bring them over to the move, you know, get them in there, you know, get them in the content
That's
place,
right.
get them over here, get their podcast up, get their content up and stuff like that because they got the systems ready and they got the capital. So what they need to do with the rest of the capital after it's working is come to the studio, come get some content, take some photos and stuff like that. But I made sure they already got the access to capital so the whole plan is set up, the system, then the content.
It's phenomenal.
And then you should be able to see the value that you're going to get out of that. And
I'm seeing the value. You just dropped so much knowledge.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Appreciate it.
Like, you really broke down the whole process of how you do what you do, and it's phenomenal. It really is.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
My last question for you. If you could provide a tip or a nugget to someone who wants to free themselves from this 9-to-5 rat race, who wants to be an entrepreneur, who wants to succeed, but doesn't know how, they can't see past the barrier in front of them, what would you say to them?
That's a perfect. All right, so here we go right here. So the very first thing you want to do is make the decision. Make the decision that it's time for a change. And, you know, Jim Rohn teaches us dissatisfaction is a creative state. So you can be really like grateful for everything you have, but be dissatisfied if your situation is there. But that opens up the doors to being very creative. And the first thing I want you to do as far as being creative and just open up your mind and just start imagining that you at this place that you want to be, like start acting as if. You got to find somebody that's doing exactly what you want to do and just model them. One of the biggest things I learned when I was in that situation you just described is that somebody has already done what I want to do. So you got to make the decision. You got to open up your mind and start being creative and then say, this is the person I want to model myself behind. Because you're going to need a starting point.
For sure.
So start with that person that you want to become, that you see, that you admire, that motivates you, and just follow the steps, whether it's follow their content. Best believe buy their book. If they got a book, read the book, follow the content. Get as close as you possibly can. I mean, sometimes it's not even about the money. It's just about you being the most active person probably in their community, or you emailing them a lot. Just get very serious about changing your life. And when you find that person, just really stay with it and don't quit. Don't quit. We all know you did not fail. You won't fail if you don't quit.
You're always 3 feet from gold.
You already there. So success is a blueprint. And that's the main thing that a lot of us who getting off the ground, like you described, may not recognize. And I go back to a word I like to use, not aware to. Because when we in those situations, a lot of people think, I can't get out this situation because I'm not smart enough. You don't have to be smart. You just have to be aware to who the smart people are, to the people who rich are, to the people that's successful. Just be aware to them and then do exactly what they're doing. Then once you get enough nuggets from those successful people, it'll start to direct your path of, if I just do what they doing long enough, eventually I'm gonna get the same results they getting. Then once I get in that rhythm, then I can add my own little sauce, my own little taste to it. But hey, man, just make the decision. Just make that decision that I'm about to change my life and I'm burning all bridges behind me. And I'm going for it. I'm going to find somebody that's going to take me there as a guide, and I'm going to start right there, and I'm never going to stop.
Fucking love it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
CJ, you have been dropping gems for an hour and 15 minutes. Hope you know that.
Appreciate it, man.
I really appreciate you. I wish you nothing but success, but I see that you are on your way to skyrocket to the moon.
Yeah, I appreciate the words.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. I really do. I think what you're doing is extremely helpful, extremely necessary, and you're giving people an out. You're giving people hope and a light at the end of that tunnel, and I really appreciate that.
Man, thank you, bro. I really appreciate that too, man.
Thank you for being on the podcast, and you guys better go to better go to CJ's YouTube channel. Because if he dropped that much knowledge on this podcast, I can't even imagine what his YouTube channel is like. Go follow, go subscribe, go hit him up, go join his university, and go get that funding.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next time.
This is the Leo Climaco Podcast.